sequel to The Shining. Didn't think I ever wanted this, but I'm glad I got it. Hey everyone, welcome to the review. Here's my review for the movie Doctor Sleep. Yes, Doctor Sleep stars Ewan McGregor, Kylie Curran, and Rebecca Ferguson and Cliff Curtis. And this movie is written and directed by Mike Flanagan. Probably my all-time favorite horror director, modern horror director that's working today. He is just... almost everything Mike Flanagan does is great, between Hush, Oculus, the first two acts of Ouija Origin of Evil, and he did the television show The Haunting of Hill House, which was my favorite show of last year, and just everything he does is so great. And I was really looking forward to this movie because Mike Flanagan, and I love The Shining. The Shining is one of the greatest horror films ever made. It's a timeless classic. Kubrick, what he did with that movie was amazing. Despite Stephen King not liking it, it's a great film. It's a great book, but it's a great film. I actually think the movie's better than the book, but there was a book after The Shining. Stephen King wrote a sequel called Doctor Sleep about Danny and stuff years later, and Danny all grown up and basically dealing with other problems. Basically, the movie's basically about that, and he has to deal with this other girl in the movie, and she has the shine like him, and he has to help her, and she's being hunted by these almost vampire-esque, they're pretty much vampires in a way, and they hunt and kill people with the shine. And it's led by a girl called Rose the Hat, played by Rebecca Ferguson, and they're basically out to get this girl, and Danny has to help her. And then they find out Danny has the shine, because Danny has almost become like an alcoholic, kind of like a lot like his father, like Jack, but maybe not as aggressive and psychotic, but he's kind of repeated what his father's been doing, and drinking and becoming miserable and depressed and stuff. Because the events of The Shining really affected his life very deeply, and it's messed him up completely. And it's a character study about Danny and this little girl with the shine, and about his past, and about these creatures who have the shine, and they want to kill people who have the shine. They're like these vampires, and they're like basically sucking the power and the life out of them. It's just weird stuff. This movie goes a little weirder, goes way more out there, more supernatural than the first one. It's The Shining, Doctor Sleep. This movie is fantastic. Honestly, it's great. I actually loved watching this movie. It's not a horror movie, and if you go into that expecting not a horror movie, I think you're gonna love it. It's not a horror film like The Shining. It is a straight supernatural psychological thriller, and it's a character piece. It's a dramatic film too. It's a character piece about Danny and his life and what he has to deal with psychologically with his past and even his future to come. And it's a lot about him. It's a very deep and atmospheric story. It really takes its time, and it really builds on the tension in the some scares it has. And it's done very subtly and very well done. And it's well crafted, beautifully executed, and top-notch direction by Mike Flanagan. The screenplay is really good, very well adapted from the book. There's a little bit of changes here and there. There's one really big change, which I won't spoil, but it's a very loyal adaptation to Stephen King's novel. I feel like Stephen King will like it, and I think fans of Stephen King and I think fans of Kubrick will both like it, because there's a lot of homages between shot compositions and even storytelling that very much homage the original Shining. And you can tell this movie is a sequel to The Shining, and it's really cool. There's a lot of fan service in there too, and it's actually really entertaining, and I think it really gets amazing in the last like 20 minutes, but throughout the whole film, I enjoyed it. It's a 2.5-hour film. It does drag a lot of moments, but I was never bored. I was always engaged, always invested. I wanted to know where it was going. I liked the characters. The performances were really strong, and yeah, like even the child performance was really good. And usually child actors aren't always great, and it can be very cringy, but the little girl in this movie was solid. And Ewan McGregor was fantastic as Danny. The show's stealer was Rebecca Ferguson. She is amazing as the villain, Rose the Hat. She is so good, very intimidating, but she has a story of her own. The movie tackles her story too, and her motives, and in a weird, fucked up way, you kind of understand her motivation and why she's doing what she needs to do to live. And she's the villain, but you kind of root for the villain in a lot of moments, which is cool, and that's what makes a really cool, interesting villain. And I thought easily Rebecca Ferguson stole the entire film. I thought the cinematography was beautiful, the editing was perfection almost, and the music was great. It has a lot of shiny music, but also its own original score, and I just think it's a terrific film and a really great sequel, and highly recommend this one. The obvious problem with this movie is that it's not as good as The Shining, and that's a gimme, because there's no way it's going to be as good as The Shining, but it's still a good and worthy sequel, and it doesn't flat out copy The Shining. It's still its own thing, but still homages and stays true to the story what The Shining brought what The Shining brought to cinema, and this is just a really good sequel. That's all it is. It's a great sequel to a great horror film. And I definitely recommend Doctor Sleep. On the scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Doctor Sleep a 9 out of 10. I think it's a really great film. I know some people are calling it boring, and I feel like because they went into the movie with the wrong mindset, and if you just go into it expecting a cool, character-driven, dramatic, psychological story, I feel like you'll be in for this one. You'll enjoy it. So that was my review for the movie Doctor Sleep. So in the comment section below, please tell me, what is your favorite Mike Flanagan movie? I think I've asked that, but yeah, what is your favorite Mike Flanagan movie? This is actually up there with Hush. Hunting in Hell House is probably the best thing he's done so far. But yeah, what are your thoughts and opinions on Mike Flanagan? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.